You're standing at the edge of a group. They're already talking. Someone just laughed at something you didn't hear. And now you're doing math. Where's the gap? What do I say? How long have I been standing here? You've been told the answer to this. Don't wait to be invited. Walk up, be confident, say something. Here's the problem. When researchers filmed real people arriving at conversations that were already happening, the person who ended up inside was almost never the person who talked their way in. Something else let them in. And it wasn't confidence, and it wasn't a clever line. It was a move made by somebody else. One that takes about 2 seconds, and that you can make very easy or very hard for them. What you're going to get is the order of moves that works, and it's almost the exact reverse of the advice you've heard. None of it requires being bolder than you are. Let's start with the advice, because it's everywhere and it sounds right. Don't wait for permission. Nobody's going to invite you. Just insert yourself. You can see why that lands. If you're the kind of person who overthinks this, waiting feels like exactly the thing that's been keeping you outside. So the fix seems obvious. Stop waiting. Do the opposite. And then you try it. You walk up, you say something into the middle of their conversation, and you watch a small polite pause open up. The one where 3 people turn, look at you, and wait for you to explain yourself. And it's worse than standing there was. That's not you being bad at it. That's the advice being backwards. Because getting into a conversation isn't something one person does. It's something 2 sides do together. And only one of those sides is you. Researchers who study video recordings of real, unstaged interaction, people arriving at kitchens, offices, gatherings, where 2 or more people are already deep in something, notice the same small event happening again and again. Someone new shows up, and one of the people already there stops, turns slightly, and says a version of the same sentence. We were just talking about... That's it. That's the move. And it's doing 2 jobs at once. It's making room. The group visibly opens to hold one more. And it's making sense. You now know what this is about, so you have something to say that isn't about you. Researchers call this making way. I'm going to call it the slot. The group opens a slot, and you're in it. Not because you were impressive, because somebody opened it. Now here's the part that should change what you do tomorrow. That sentence works when they offer it. It does not work the same way when you ask for it. Think about the version you've probably used. You walk up and you say, "What are you guys talking about?" It's a reasonable question. It's friendly. It's the question the advice tells you to ask. And in the recordings, it's the marked version, the one that carries a cost. When they offer the summary, they're including you. When you request it, you've made them do it, and you've made it visible that they hadn't. You've turned an easy moment into a small obligation, and the first thing the group has to do with you is comply. Same information, opposite feeling. The difference is entirely in who spoke first. So the goal isn't to ask a better question at the edge of the group. The goal is to be someone the slot opens for. Which brings us to how the group actually decides. Because it's mostly deciding before you say anything. Researchers have put eye-tracking glasses on people meeting strangers and measured the whole approach second by second. And people don't lock eyes and march forward. They look,
They look away and they look back. The gaze breaks in the middle. Arriving is staged, a small signal at a distance, then the walk, then the real greeting, in that order. There's an older observation behind that, from people who filmed guests arriving at an actual party. You don't get one greeting, you get a little one at range, then a full one up close. The small one buys the right to the big one. And when adults were filmed walking up to small standing groups in a lab, hundreds of approaches tracked in 3 dimensions, the group did one of 2 things. It accommodated, shifted, turned, physically opened space. Or it ignored, stood still and stayed closed. Those groups were tight, by the way. The average one was less than 3 feet across. There isn't room for you until somebody makes room. So why does this go wrong specifically for people who think too much about it? Because your fear isn't wrong. It's mistimed. You're braced for the moment of speaking. That's where you expect to be judged. So you do one of 2 things with the part that actually matters. You freeze in it. You stand at the edge, waiting to be sure. And the waiting reads as not here. Or you skip it. You feel the discomfort of hovering, and you overcorrect straight into the highest risk move available. Talking about yourself into a conversation you haven't heard. And there's a strange piece of support for this from somewhere completely different. Decades ago, researchers watched children trying to join games already in progress. The ones who got in did something gradual. They hung around the edge. They watched. They did what the group was already doing. The ones who got turned away were the ones who arrived and pulled attention to themselves, asked questions about themselves, announced their opinion. Playground and dinner party, 40 years apart, same shape.
So here's the order. It goes from low risk to high, and every step earns the next one. 1. Get where you can be seen, not behind someone, not hovering at the shoulder. Move into the circle's line of sight, at the edge, at a normal distance. You are not asking for anything yet. You're just visible. 2. Listen out loud. React to what's actually being said. Laugh at the real joke, not the polite one. Nod at the point. This is the whole bid, and it's silent. You're showing the group that you're already in the conversation they're having, which is the only evidence they need. 3. Give it a few seconds. This is the part that feels impossible and takes almost no time. Most of the time, someone turns and hands you the slot. 4. If it doesn't come, enter on their topic, not on yourself. Say something about the thing they're already discussing. 1 sentence. That's the low-risk version of speaking, and it does the same work as the summary they didn't offer. And 3 ways to undo all of it. Don't ask for the recap. Don't change the subject in your first sentence. That's the same as arriving and taking the wheel. And don't apologize for showing up. Sorry, am I interrupting? Invites the answer, yes. So go back to the edge of that group. Nothing in those 4 seconds is a test of how interesting you are. It's a coordination problem, and it has an order. Be seen. Listen visibly. Wait a beat. Enter on their subject. You're not breaking in, You're making it easy for someone to open a slot, which is a thing people do constantly and mostly want to do. You don't have to be bolder, you have to be legible. If this names something you've been doing at the edge of a lot of rooms, tell me in the comments which one you recognize, the freezing or the overcorrecting. I read them. And subscribe. Next time, why the person you'd feel weirdest messaging is the one who'd be most glad you did. And why we're not that close is exactly backwards.